Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and this is the next video wherein we are going to discuss a quick topic in Java which is called as the priority queue, or you can also call it as heap. So basically these two are having the same kind of, or you can say similar type of the properties. Heap is basically the implementation of the priority key. Priority queue, it's just a normal queue wherein it behaves like as a first in first out, but talking about the differences is that it exit outs the number based upon the priority that we set. So by default, the priority is basically set up as the number which is going to be having the lowest value is going to be coming out of the queue as the first one. So let me give an example. Suppose this is basically a pool of database that we have, and inside of which we have, candidates having their ranks. So just imagine for a fact a candidate is basically having the rank as 1, and there is also one more candidate which is called as C, which is having the rank as 10. And let's take some more examples. D is having the rank as 23. Based on that, the data is being scattered over here inside of this database. So you set the functionality of priority queue over here, and imagine for a fact you are gonna be just taking out the numbers randomly out of this priority queue. So what's gonna happen? The very first candidate who's gonna come out of this particular queue is gonna be the candidate A, because it is having the lowest rank. And you set the priority queue basis upon the values that you have inside of this particular database. So that's how the number is gonna come out of this particular queue. The A, which is having the lowest rank, which is the number 1, that's gonna come out first, and that's gonna just simply gonna get vanished from this particular queue. Then if that after that, once the A has been taken out, the next number which is gonna come out of this queue is gonna be the number 10, which is gonna be C. And after that, D is gonna come out of this queue. So that's how the priority is being set. The number which is gonna be the lowest one is gonna be coming out of this queue as the first one. But in normal queues, what happens is, whatever the number you are adding in a particular order, let's say you are adding A, C, D, then basis on that only the first in is going to come out as a first out, right? So A is going to come out. But on the other hand, talking about the priority key, it's going to be having set up as a priority, which is whichever number is going to be having the lowest value, that's going to come out first. So we'll be able to better understand this particular thing, in while we code, and we'll see the output. And basis on that, we can have a better understanding. And this is also the similar property that we also see in heap. Heap is also having by default as a property that whatever the number is going to be, having the lowest value, it's going to be on the top, right? So that's how the heap structure is basically formed. So the number 1 is going to be at the top, and then it's going to be the number 10. And over here on the right hand side, it's going to be number 23. So if I'll take this number 1 out, the 10 is going to set up over here, and that will be at the maximum priority. So that's how the number is basically formed. So let me give you an example while writing the code, and that's going to help you to understand this code better. So basically this is my main method, and over here I'll just create something called as an array, and basis on that we will be just adding or storing some ranks, so that we will be adding that first into the queue, and we'll see that how exactly the data is going to come out. So I'll just add certain random numbers, and that's going to be like in this way. So yeah, this is basically what I have added over here. Okay, so so these are the numbers which I've added, just in random fashion. So yeah, let me also initialize our priority queue, because that's how we will be able to use its methods. So methods, talking about the methods of the priority queue, are just the same as that we see in other collections, right? So this is going to be having the similar kind of methods that we have to use. So let me also show you while writing the code over here. So priority queue is going to be mentioned over here, and also at this particular location. So I'll also show you that how exactly the complexity works in this particular case. Talking about when we have to add a data inside of this priority queue, it basically takes the complexity of log of n, and the deletion, the removal, is also going to be having the complexity of log of n. But when we have to peek the data, let me come back to this screen. So let's suppose you're adding a data, you are adding a new number, let's say 5, then that means it's going to take the complexity of log of n. But And talking about the removal, let's say you're removing one by one data out of this priority queue, that's also going to take the complexity of log of n. But on the other hand, if you just want to peek the data, like let's suppose you just want to peek the data that which number is at the top, then that's going to be just of O of 1 complexity. So that's the main difference. Deletion and insertion is going to take log of n, but just peeking the data that which number is at the top, that only going to take O of 1 complexity. So let's try to implement the same thing over here. So now that we have initialized our priority queue, which is PQ, and let's try to add certain numbers to this. And for that, I will be using a for loop. That's itself going to be a for each loop. And I will be having my ranks as my array, which I want to target. So I will be adding the numbers one by one from this array. So it's going to be starting from the initial index, right? And numbers, so there is also one more catch over here. So let's suppose you're adding, so see this data which is there in the array, it's going to be in a sequence, right? 0, 1, 32, 4, 5, 53. So that's going to be having 0 index, first index. So however, I'm adding this number, these numbers in this particular sequence starting from left to right. But talking about the data which will be inside of this particular priority queue, that will be in a random fashion. It's not going to be having any kind of a structure. So just like is the way in this picture, so if I'm going to be adding any kind of a number 1, 10, 23, 5, that's going to be scattered completely. It's not going to be in some kind of a random, it's not going to be in some kind of a proper fashion like as insorted, or you can say like the way we add it, it's going to be completely random. There is no proper order. Just like as the way, just like as the things happen in hash map as well. That's a similar kind of a thing happens over here as well. So pq.add, the method is going to be the same to add the numbers. And what I'm adding is an I over here, okay? So that's going to be targeting my my ranks array data. Next thing that I want to do is I will be starting out a while loop, and I will be executing that till the time my size of this pq.size is going to be greater than that of 0. Okay, so this is going to be a method, so I have to add parentheses. And what I want to do is I will be printing out these letters which are going to be coming out of this. Okay, system.out.print ln, and I want to peek the data, whichever the element that's going to be on the top. So that's going to peek the data, and let me also add certain things over here. Next is I also want to remove the elements that's going to be coming out of this particular priority queue that we have created. So I'll add a method remove, pq.remove. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's try to run the code and see the output over here. Okay, so you can see that the very first number coming as 4, then after that it's 5, 32, 53, 56, 132. So that's a kind of a sorted array, right? Because the number which is going to be having the smaller value, it's going to come out first, and after that it's going to just perform in that way. Okay, so if you want to reverse this order, so how you can do that? So there is a proper way that we can use in order to reverse this particular sequence. So for that thing, we just have to use collections.reverse order. That has to be mentioned inside of this constructor over here. Okay, so let's just mention that, and we will see the output is getting reversed. So collections.reverse order is something that we have to mention over here, and that's going to reverse the output. So let's see how it's going to happen. Okay, so it's giving us some kind of an error. Okay, so that's collections, not collection. Okay, so let me execute this again. Okay, so you can see that output has been reversed, 312, 132, 56, 53. Yeah, so it's pretty much cool, right? So yeah, that's it from my side. That's it in this video. I hope you got the basic understanding about the priority queue and the heap data structure. So it's just an abstract data structure. There is just the functionality that we are following up over here. Inside of this priority queue, there is something kind of a functionality that we have set up so that it gives us the output that to be in the fashion of some kind of a priority. If you want the sequential data that to be in a increasing order, then definitely you have to just go with the default setup. Otherwise, you can reverse the data by using the collections.reverse order method over here that you can mention over here. And addition and deletion is having the log n complexity, And talking about the peak is having O of 1. So talking about this insertion that we are doing over here, it's going to be done in n log n complexity, because we are executing the for loop by n times, and addition is also taking log n of time, so that is n log n. And over here you can see that we are doing the removal. Again, it is working for the n number of times, and deletion and the removal is going to take the log n time, so it's again n log n complexity over here. But talking about the peak, it's just O of 1, so that is not taking any of the time. So yeah, that's it in this video. It's just a quick tutorial. So I hope you liked it, and thanks for watching. See you next time.